So, hey, brother.
Hey, Al.
And welcome everyone back to another episode of Siblings in Crime. I'm Allie Rossell.
And I'm Blake Murphy.
And just as it sounds, we're siblings who love true crime.
Yes, love it.
Love it. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe. Thank you to our new subscribers. It always means the world to us.
Yes, more.
Freak. Miss Rachel or whatever.
Nikki was doing that yesterday, and Paige was like, I don't know how he learned that. I didn't teach him.
That's so funny. I hear that ASL is great for babies.
Yeah.
They always learn that way.
Somehow that baby learned it without being taught. So maybe it's just natural.
Maybe. So yes, please, more subscribers. It's so fun for us. Please send to your people. It helps us a lot, as you can imagine.
Yes.
So, anything before we get into it? Because I'm going to just hop right in. We got a big case.
Yes. So I love this show called, what's it called? Your Friends and Neighbors. It's about this guy who's like a super rich, like finance guy. And then he finds out his wife's sleeping with his best friend. And his life kind of falls apart and loses his job because he slept with an assistant. He didn't know it was an assistant. And then he starts robbing people in his neighborhood because he lives in a super rich neighborhood selling the stuff to make money. And then eventually he gets accused of murder and all this stuff. But I just love this show, and I for some reason think it'd be so fun to like be him, like just like stealing, like sneaking into like people's houses,
like Robin Hood or whatever, stealing from the rich.
Yeah, and he doesn't give to the poor, but he
just keeps it.
He steals stuff that people, really rich people, don't even realize is gone. And I don't think it's cool that he does that, but
don't steal. That's not what he's saying.
I just love the show. It's just so good.
Never even heard of that. I've never seen you watch it or anything.
That's because season 2 just came out, and there's only one episode out, so I watched it last night.
Oh, well.
But yeah, don't steal. That's bad, but it seems very fun.
So you got your recommendation from Blake of what you need to be watching next. Yes. Huh? Maybe I'll give it a go.
What else did I watch recently?
Sports.
Oh, I really love Shrinking. It kind of makes me cry. It's like a new show. This guy's wife dies from a drunk driver, and he's a therapist, and it's just kind of about their life. And
that's so sad.
I know. He like forgives the guy, and yeah.
Are you giving too many spoilers?
I don't think so.
Blake's a big spoiler. He doesn't realize what he cuts to the chase. And
I had Easter with Dad yesterday.
I know.
He was
very
just
awesome.
in the ground.
He was just in the ground, but you were next to that kind of. Blake went and ran around the cemetery yesterday and told Dad, "Happy Easter." Mm-hmm. So, yes, happy Easter to everyone. He lives.
He's risen.
He has risen. Well, great. Thanks for the Rex. I didn't know that you've been watching shows. Well, are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, we're going to be in 2004. So put your thinking cap on for 2004. What's around at that time? May 5th, specifically 2004, there's 2 fishermen are out on the water near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel in Virginia.
Right. Oh, sorry. Let's restart that. I forgot it was like your big thing.
What were you going to say?
I said my favorite dog when I was a kid was a Chesapeake Bay Retriever.
Oh my gosh. I've never even heard of that dog.
Put that at the end as the bloopers.
How about we just keep rolling? Keep it in.
Okay, keep it in.
All right. So they're at the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel in Virginia. They have 2 kids with them, and they're just fishing. One of them notices something floating. A suitcase. It's dark green, sealed shut. They pull it out of the water and they open it, and immediately the fishing trip is over. Inside the suitcase are human legs.
Jeez.
Not 1 suitcase, but 3 are found across 11 days in the Chesapeake Bay. Each one dark green, each one matching a piece of a Kenneth Cole luggage set. Each one piecing together more of the puzzle. This is the story of Bill McGuire. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Finding body parts would be the scariest thing ever.
You know your mind's not registering that that's like actually a legit thing.
Yeah, like that's a mannequin. That's really creepy. Wait, that's blood and that's real bone.
You're like, that's actually legit.
That's legit.
And these poor, like, there's 2 kids fishing with these people. Yeah. Like, that's got to be the most traumatizing thing that anyone ever comes across.
Yeah. Would you say, oh, it's just a mannequin, let's call the police? Or would you say, it's a real body? It's a real body. That's real body, kids. Like you have
That's a real body, children.
It's life.
Yeah,
it's life.
Part of it. There's
Just
probably other body parts. Like I don't know how you handle that as an adult. I'm sure
Yeah.
the kids are aware. They
Yeah.
probably know more about it being a body than what a mannequin is, anyways.
Yeah.
Depending on how old these kids are. But today's case had been covered actually on like every major true crime platform since 2007, which is funny because I've literally never heard of this case before.
I haven't heard of it either.
Yeah, there's like, I'll put all the documentaries in the show notes, of course, but there's like a Lifetime movie on Netflix, 2020 episode on Apple TV. Like, there's all these different shows about it. So that will all be in the show notes. But today we're going to be starting from the water. So from these suitcases, these 3 suitcases, and a dead man nobody had even identified yet. Because the real story of how this case unfolds is so much stranger than like literally any of the headlines, believe it or not. And I'm like almost pretty sure where I stand on it, yet I think I might have some reasonable doubt. So I'm going to get your opinion on it by the
So
end.
it's unsolved?
It's solved.
Oh, so
legally solved.
It's a mystery?
I wouldn't say it's a mystery, but there's not as much evidence as you would like. So this is a reasonable doubt. The thing is circumstantial.
Oh, I meant like there isn't substantial evidence.
Oh yeah. There's like, you'll see. But a lot of it is circumstantial, and sometimes those cases are the hardest to agree with. So,
Sorry.
you okay?
No, it's in the.
Oh, no one's gonna know what we're talking about. We look like idiots. We're gonna start doing TikTok trends. We decided just now. So,
I'm in a weird mood right now.
I can tell. Well, when Virginia Beach police pulled the first suitcase from the water on May 5th, 2004, they had a partial body and no name. A forensic artist actually was brought in to create a reconstruction sketch, which I'm like, what do you mean? Like, with just
Draw the
legs?
arms on it.
Yeah, like, what? It's like drawing the likeness from the physical remains. And this actually went out to, like, the local news, the media. And I'm like, you're going to identify someone by their legs, or are you trying to draw the rest of the body? I haven't seen this image, nor do I really care to see it. I just think that's kind of creepy.
Have you seen like the news bloopers where the guy, like the news
Yeah.
reporter's like saying this is what is believed to look like,
And
and
it's like a
just
circle with 4 hairs.
Oh no, that's one's funny, but I'm talking about the guy. It looked just like the guy that's talking on the news.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's funny.
It is
We'll have to
funny.
put a picture if we can find it. But they're like, that's suspicious.
Everyone in the news things like
That's awesome.
Jim.
And believe it or not, like, the sketch, like, works. Like, someone actually recognizes this sketch. So whether it was, hey, I have a missing friend, and that could be him, I think that's kind of like how it can be.
Yeah.
And his name was William McGuire. But we're going to call him Bill, as everyone else called him. He was 39 years old. He was a Navy veteran, a computer programmer in systems analysis at the New Jersey Institute of Technology in Newark. He also ran a small consulting business on the side and taught computer courses at the NJIT as a supplemental income. So he has 3 streams at once. He's always working. He was a big man. He's 6'3".
3 streams of income.
Yeah, of income.
3
I figured
streams.
you knew what I was talking about. 6'3", 200 pounds or over it. He's like kind of quieter, but obviously he's well known enough.
Sorry, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. There's this random guy on TikTok that always starts to sing. He's like, "Hey, I'm Jim or whatever. I'm 6'3", I live in Scottsdale." I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
That's so embarrassing to say your
But
height.
yeah, but if I was 6'3", I'd probably do that too. I'd be like, "I'm 6'3". Oh
You
yeah,
should
I
start
said
doing
he's
that.
single too.
I'm 5'8".
I'm 5'9".
Just kidding. I'm 5'9". No, I know. I feel like people have like their certain intros that they just stick to. And
Yeah.
saying your height is kind of a funny one.
Yeah, maybe I'll start, but I'll lie.
But you'll lie. Every time you say something different.
Yeah.
I'm 6'2". I'm 6'4". That'd be pretty funny.
5'4".
No one knows what the truth is. 5'4". Well, he loved red wine. He had a great sense of humor. Like, he's
the man.
Adored by his 2 young sons. He has a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and a wife. His whole family.
Yeah.
But obviously his sons are like his whole world. Downside, he loved gambling.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't? In Atlantic
Until you
City
lose.
specifically, and regularly. Sometimes he'd go with friends, sometimes he'd go alone, and a lot of people didn't even, like, his family didn't even know who he was going with.
I feel like if you gamble alone, you kind of got an issue. I feel like
Yeah.
it's a game of amongst friends rather than go by yourself.
Yeah, everyone's like depressed at the slots or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that gets pretty
Like
depressing
poop
there.
their pants and stuff.
Oh my gosh,
They
gross.
can't get up.
So some argue that he gambled beyond his means, spending money that wasn't coming from his bank account. Nobody who investigated this case ever publicly established exactly where this money was coming from, how he was getting a hold of money to gamble it, or anything like that. So they weren't sure, could he have owed anyone money? If so, to whom? Which I think is a huge miss in the investigation, as we will talk about later, is maybe not all avenues were thoroughly searched. So on May 11th, a graduate student was spending her morning doing something completely ordinary for her, and that was a walk on the beach at Fisherman Island, a national wildlife refuge area near the southern tip of Virginia. And she was picking up trash. She's like, I love my animals.
Yeah.
We're picking up the
She's
litter.
a
in here."
marine biologist.
Yeah, we love her. She's keeping our beaches clean.
Yes.
She obviously wasn't looking at anything besides good old-fashioned rubbish, but she found something she wasn't expecting.
Another suitcase?
She almost walked right by it when she noticed a dark green suitcase half buried in the sand near the waterline. She stopped, she opened it, and inside was a human torso. Still attached, though, was the head. I don't know why I phrased it like that. It sounded so much worse. The head had 1 bullet wound, and the chest had 2 additional bullet wounds. Ugh. That's got to be so much worse than finding the legs.
I know.
That makes me so sick.
A human head and hands.
Is that from something?
Yes. Remember that creepy like teenage guy?
Oh, you reference that a lot, I feel like.
I know, because it's just like the way he says it just like sounds so creepy.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. So a forensic expert would later testify the body had been cut using what looked like a knife and a reciprocating saw.
Jeez.
Right. Horrible.
Can't imagine you have to have like no I don't know the word. I'm trying to think. You just have to have no
Morals?
feeling in your body to like cut someone up.
Yeah, that.
Like no emotion, no like you
You have no
to be a
senses
lunatic
whatsoever.
Is what I'm going
Lunatic
at.
instead of psychopath.
Yeah.
A lunatic.
You have to be both.
Yeah, seriously. To not have any physical reaction. Like, nevertheless, I would be like throwing up if I was in that situation. Like that.
I would have passed out twice.
Yeah, you would.
Times.
More than that, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to overdo it.
And then that's not even talking about like the emotional aspect, like how devastating to see that. But so 5 days later, May 16th, after the torso and head had been found, the third suitcase finally surfaced near the bridge tunnel's second artificial island. So they can make fake islands. And it was the pelvis and thighs. And this was the last piece of the human body. So they have 3 suitcases. One man, 300 miles away from his apartment in New Jersey.
Jeez.
Now, before anything else, I want you to think about the geography. It's kind of weird. So it's 300 miles away. You don't really move a body 300 miles by accident. Somebody probably had to have planned this. Somebody knew what they were doing.
Does this water like travel that way? Or is it just thrown off and it's still water?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like a bay. It's not like they could put it in New Jersey and it would travel all the way to Chesapeake. Yeah. They would have to have driven. Current. Yeah, they would have to have driven out there, dump the bodies at that location. So somebody obviously wanted this man either found very far away or probably never ever found. And here's the thing about Bill McGuire. He is a man, like I said, with a gambling problem who plays regularly. And nobody knows where he's getting this money from. And they're thinking that maybe it's not always a safe place he's getting his money from.
Yeah, I'm just, off the top of my head, I'm just thinking mafia.
That's exactly what they're getting at. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they're getting at. There are people in the city that made their living literally collecting debts.
Yeah.
And who handle problems quietly, efficiently, and at a very long distance from wherever their problem started? Probably the mob. Now, I
love mafia stories, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, a legal analysis covering the case said it plainly on camera. They said, who cuts up bodies? That's a mob move.
That's a video?
Yeah. Or, I mean, yeah, it was, like, on camera.
Oh.
So, it's kind of funny because I'm like, does the mob typically... Is that a way? I mean, obviously not everyone has their signatures or whatever, but, like... Cutting up, dismembering, and throwing in the water, is that a mob move?
I don't know about cutting up, but I know they like put people in barrels and put them in like
the water?
all over like
Vegas.
Vegas, yeah. There's just
Not sure
barrels
that
of
one
people.
lake. I didn't
From the
realize they were in
mafia.
barrels.
Yeah, I think.
That's kind of creepy.
I think that just makes them like not come up to the top.
Oh, like weigh it down.
Yeah, but and also it's like somewhere to put a body.
Yeah, that's so scary.
I could be wrong.
I wonder how many bodies are in that lake over there. I can't remember what the lake is called right now. But I was like, because mobs, I'm like, do they dispose of the body? Because like hitmen, they like do like assassination style. Government, they do accidents.
Yeah, I'm sure
Everyone has their way.
I'm sure. I feel like just from the whole Vegas thing, I feel like their MO is throw them in the lake.
Yeah,
unless
true.
it's like a firefight and they just shoot each other and then run away.
That's true.
But,
like a drive-by.
Yeah, or like shooting at each other.
Right.
But yeah, maybe I think that's kind of their thing. But I bet there's like so many families and stuff that maybe each family has different ways of handling
a creepy
people.
thought.
Yeah.
But as investigators started asking about the week that Bill disappeared, of course, new theories are going to emerge. And I think that obviously investigators are supposed to go down every single avenue. But off the bat, they're thinking maybe this was mafia, but they have to go into other sources. So Bill McGuire was last confirmed alive on April 28th, 2004. It was a Tuesday. He and his wife, Melanie, had spent the day closing on their very first home, which is so fun, a house in Warren County, New Jersey. It was about like $450,000 home. It had a yard. It had room for their 2 young sons to grow up. And it just seemed like the classic American dream, suburban house, all that good stuff. Court records confirm that at 5:37 that evening, Bill called the gas company to transfer the utilities to his new address. At 5:44, he called a close friend, and at 5:59, he called another one. And these short calls were like happy ones. It sounds like he was calling his friends like, "We bought the house! We bought the house!" Like short, excited. Like his friends are like, he just wanted people to know. Like he was excited. He wanted to talk about it. He had no idea those were among the last calls he would ever make.
Bummer.
Yeah. The next morning, April 29th, his wife Melanie reported that they had fought in the early hours. That Bill had shoved her against a wall, slapped her, and forced a dryer sheet into her mouth in front of their young 4-year-old son.
Jeez, this guy's a little more crazy than I thought.
I know, it's creepy. And it's like so interesting because you see like the public records, like, oh, like his buddies at work loved him, and then you hear like these other horror stories like, holy cow.
It's probably the whole money thing.
Yeah, true.
I was just wondering, how do you buy a house? I mean, you don't need that much money to buy your first house, but if he's living above his means or spending above his means, that means he probably doesn't have any money.
Yeah, I know. And then if he's already potentially in debt and then he's buying a house, like, yeah, bad luck. So according to her, she ran and locked herself and her child in a bathroom for protection. And they could hear Bill like rummaging the apartment. She thinks he was grabbing things. He's like super pissed. And on his way out the door, he was saying that his kids will never know him as a father.
We'll never know him?
Yeah. Like he's leaving,
Oh.
And people can be saying this out of just like a place of anger, like seemed like to all their accounts, like he did love his kids. So whether or not like he was just mad or maybe he intentionally was leaving, we don't know.
How weird. It's weird because he's leaving out of anger, not like nervous he needs to pay someone back and like running out the door. Right, you think
like, oh, I gotta escape because they're coming after me.
Yeah, rather than like maybe that night he went and gambled a bunch and something bad happened.
He's like, well, now I'm screwed because the house is gonna not close for it anymore, and yeah, maybe. And so this is the last time that he had ever been to that home. That afternoon, his wife Melanie, she went to a family court and applied for a temporary restraining order, not knowing like his state of mind when he was going to come home. She told the judge that she had no idea where Bill was, and the next day she contacted a divorce attorney. And then 3 weeks after Bill disappeared, she filed for divorce.
Dang.
So she's like, I don't know where he's at. I don't care. I'm getting a divorce. If he comes back, like we could all be screwed.
Good for her though. Like if someone touches you, then
so scary. I can't. I feel so sad for people who obviously in domestic abuse relationships, and it's scary when you have like little kids because I know that that's often a trap of like not leaving an abusive spouse. So yeah, when people are brave enough to make that step, that's pretty impressive. So obviously she never filed a missing persons report. So it makes sense to me. If someone ran out, especially if you're getting like abused, you're not like, I want to find this person. So the missing person report never came up. So when they were looking like who this person is, that's not how they came across it. Obviously it was someone else who identified the body. But when Virginia Beach investigators eventually contacted her, she told them to look for Bill's car in Atlantic City. She said, I know he gambles there. When he's mad, he goes and gambles. So sure enough, they went to Atlantic City and they found it. His 2002 Nissan Maxima sitting in a lot near the Flamingo Motel.
Are they getting a little suspicious of him, of her?
I think you have to always be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Flamingo Hotel. That sounds familiar. Yeah. I was also just listening to something about Cuba and how Cuba used to be like the Vegas back in the day.
oh yeah?
Yeah. And like all the mobsters had like casinos there and stuff before the whole Cuban Missile Crisis. And I think that the CIA met with mobsters in a hotel, and I think it was called the Flamingo Hotel. I don't remember. Because they were planning a way to kill Fidel Castro because, wait, was that? Yeah, because he was starting to work with whoever to put nuclear weapons on Cuba.
If you like what you just heard, maybe one of these days you'll be able to turn into a history podcast with Blake.
Maybe not.
I hope so.
I don't know anything about history, but I want to learn.
But he's learning, and so maybe it'll be a great podcast.
Yeah. Obviously, my facts will be a little straighter than right there.
Right. You'll have it all like fine-tuned.
Yeah, these guys did this. And
whatever his name is.
Flamingo.
Yeah, it would be polished by then. So obviously, this, like you just said, could be a battered woman who knows her husband well and his behavior and where he would have gone, or this is weird and is this a coincidence? So any theories before I get into all the investigative things?
All right, quick break from the case. Because if you've ever looked up at a plane and thought, I wonder what it's like to actually fly one, this is for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Simply Fly Flight School, a local flight school right here in Arizona that makes learning to fly simple, fast, and actually affordable. Simply Fly offers discovery flights where you can get in a real plane with a certified flight instructor, take the controls, and experience what it's like to be an actual pilot. No experience needed, just show up and enjoy. And for our listeners, you can get $10 off your discovery flight when you book through simplyflyco.com. Whether you're checking off a bucket list item, thinking about becoming a pilot, or just want the coolest experience you'll have all year, this is it. Head to simplyflyco.com, book your discovery flight, and use podcast discount to save $10. Now back to true crime.
I know I haven't given you too much, but
I don't think the wife's done anything.
okay.
I think she just knows her husband well. I feel like when you've been with someone for a long time, you just like know what they're gonna do before they do it. It's like really
like
weird.
He's mad. He's probably in Atlantic City.
Yeah, or like the person does something, you're like, oh, this happened. I can just tell by the way they respond to that. So I think she just knows he's there. And I think that he probably owed a bunch of debt to someone, went back to Atlantic City, started gambling. They found him. He tried to fight back. They killed him. They chopped him up, threw him in the lake.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, these are the two theories I'm thinking. Is the wife suspicious? We need to look and find anything about the mafia.
Also, I'm guessing that she found out that he's in a lot more debt than she thought.
Like maybe that's what led to the fight before.
She got mad at him. He is obviously stressed about it, so he overreacted, left, was mad, went to go gamble some more because that's what he does when he's stressed.
And that's when he got caught.
That's when something worse happened.
All right. Well, hold on to that. Investigators looked more closely at the car, as they do. They find the car, they're going to do the forensic sweep, they're going to look into everything, as well as surveillance footage from the motel. And pretty notably, also what they came across was Melanie's Easy Pass records. We don't have Easy Pass.
Ooh, what's that mean?
I'll say we don't have an Easy Pass over here. You can tell that we're from the West Coast. I don't know if it's just East Coast, actually. But it's the digital logs of your vehicle passing through tolls.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's tolls around here.
I know,
Not
but it's
in
not
Arizona.
easy pass and stuff, you know.
Maybe in California.
California, maybe. Well, the Atlantic City theory started developing a very serious problem. The Flamingo Motel security tape showed Bill's car pulling into the parking lot just after midnight on April 30th. The footage, of course, was grainy. It was like had like lapse in the times, like it wasn't continuous recordings. So it was like blurry enough that investigators could not like positively identify the driver. What they could say was that whoever parked the car was not Bill. That was like
maybe his wife did kill him because he had a bullet. So maybe she shot him, then cut him up.
Okay.
But cutting someone up is probably like intensive labor.
That's gonna be so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and minutes after the Maxima pulled in, another vehicle appears on the tape. It's an SUV consistent with a Nissan Pathfinder. It slows, and then the brake lights are on. It looks like it stopped, and then it moves on. Any guesses on what Melanie McGuire drove?
A Nissan Pathfinder.
A Nissan Pathfinder. Yeah.
Got her.
And when investigators pulled her Easy Pass records, the like electronics toll system we just talked about, they found 2 charges, total of 90 cents. It was placed on April 30, 2004, showing her car traveling south toward Atlantic City the morning after Bill disappeared.
So maybe she was like mad and she like chased him down.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're not walking out on me."
She's like, "We're not done talking."
Yeah.
Well, they asked her about it, of course, and she admitted that she went. She's like, "Okay, yeah, like that's actually how I knew that he was there."
Yeah.
Like she admitted she found his car, and she admitted she moved it, not to report it to police or out of concern whatsoever. She was like mad at him, and prank
This'll
is kind
teach him.
Yeah, prank is a bad word, but she was like said she was furious with him, and she wanted to mess with him, so she literally described driving around Atlantic, found his car, and moved it so he'd think it was stolen, just to piss him off.
The investigator's like, okay, yeah, right.
And then other women are like, that's probably likely. I too would move his car if I was pissed.
Yeah. There's like another lady investigator. She's like, valid.
I remember one time Mom went to the movie theaters with her friends, and Dad thought it would be so funny to like move her car. So we went to the theater and we got a spare, and we moved her car to like the other side of the parking lot, and we just sat and watched as she like tried to come out, and she was putting like the alarm sound on, like trying to find the car. And he was like, Dad loved pranks, so it was so ridiculous. Obviously it was all in good heart rather than she was just super pissed at her spouse.
Yeah.
She also admitted that she called Easy Pass afterward, though, and asked them to remove the charges from her record. And that's the part that looks weird to me. I'm like, it was 90 cents. I would have never thought, like, to be like, oh, I'm on the toll. Hey, can you get rid of that? Like, your husband's not going to look it up. Like, who even thinks of that? In her own words, she says, I panicked. I absolutely tried to have those charges taken off because I feared that people would look and think what they ultimately ended up thinking. So she's like, I didn't want it to look bad. Like, once I found out that he was, like, missing and, like, maybe dead, she's like, I didn't want people knowing that I went and moved his car.
Yeah. I feel like that's the kind of thing where it's like, if you're just upfront with it, it sounds a little bit better than when, like, they find out and ask you about it and then you make up something new.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
always the truth is better.
Also, guys, like, I was feeling crazy that night. I went and moved his car.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, rather than like, yeah, I just guessed he was there. And it's like, well, your car's there. Like, oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I
so,
did go and move his car.
Right. Like, you don't want them, like, feeding you the truth. If you really are innocent, the truth is always the best thing. Like, you're going to look way more suspicious if you try to.
Even if you're doing something sketchy, like.
Yeah, true.
Like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to know.
Because I was speeding.
This. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I had, like, drugs in the car. Like, you see that all the time. Like, I won't get you for the marijuana if you tell me, you know. Mm-hmm. You always see that with, like, body cam footage. Well, the Atlantic City theory gambling issue was still alive, but it had new questions sitting on top of it. Like, why was Melanie moving her missing husband's car in the middle of the night? So, has your opinion shifted at all?
Yeah, she's guilty.
She's guilty.
I'm just kidding. She did it.
You think she killed him, dismembered him, and threw him in the water? That's a lot.
I know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know what I know, but.
So let's dig up Melanie's dirt.
I just feel like she's sketchy.
Yeah.
Maybe she's been gambling. his money that he thought he was
He's
gambling.
like, he's actually
and
not
he found
gambling
out
ever.
because he wanted to gamble, and then he couldn't.
Like, why do I have no money? You're gambling too. Yeah. So, Melanie, as investigators dove into her life, a name kept coming up. A man connected to her workplace, a fertility clinic in Morristown, where she had worked as a nurse since 1999. His name was Dr. Bradley Miller.
She's cheating. So Dr. Miller cut up the body because he's a doctor.
Okay.
Going. Maybe not.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. I was trying to think of what kind of doctor he was. He was in a fertility clinic. He's a reproductive endocrinologist. I'm not sure if they're really trained in the whole cutting up part, but I don't know what they do specifically.
All the tools, probably.
Yeah. Besides the whole pack, like, he helps, obviously. He doesn't help women get pregnant.
He's there coaching.
Yeah. You got it. So obviously he's a part of that field. I don't think he's doing the surgeries and stuff, but he was respected in his field. He was married. He had children at home. By every external measure, he was successful, upstanding professional. And investigators quickly noticed something odd. A prescription had been filled at a Walgreens near the McGuire Children's Daycare on the morning of April 28th. The morning of the house closing, the morning prosecutors would eventually say was probably the morning that Bill was killed.
This is why Bill was mad.
Because of the doctor?
Found out about the doctor.
Well, this is what's weird. So the prescription was for chloral hydrate. It's a powerful sedative, colorless, nearly tasteless, capable of rendering someone unconscious quickly without struggle, especially when dissolved in alcohol.
Maybe he never left the house.
Oh, okay. So he was like sedated and never left. Well, the weird thing is the prescription was written on Dr. Miller's prescription pad, and he had denied writing it, and a handwriting expert agreed.
She stole it.
That the signature on this prescription did not match Miller's, but it also did not match Melanie's.
Okay, what the hell?
What is going on here? I know. Whoever signed it, they had access to his prescription pad and the clinic's patient records because the name on the prescription actually belonged to a real fertility patient, like a woman named Tiffany Bean. No, it wasn't to her.
Oh.
It's written out to a woman named Tiffany, who later confirmed that she had never been to that Walgreens, though, and had not requested any such prescription.
All right. Are there security cameras at Walgreens?
You would think, but they don't have anything about pulling up the tapes from Walgreens.
2004, huh?
2004. Very 2004 of them. I don't know if a motel had it at the Flamingo Motel. Walgreens with drugs would definitely have a camera.
Yeah.
But it wasn't suggested in any of my sources. Well, when police processed Bill's Nissan Maxima in Atlantic City, they found a small vial of chlorohydrate in the glove compartment, along with 2 syringes, traced back to that same Walgreens, like the same prescription. So Bill had it in his car, the prescription that was on this pad that no one signed for.
What the hell?
Isn't that the weirdest thing you've ever heard?
Yeah.
So now there was a man, Melanie's boss at the clinic, whose prescription pad had been used to obtain the sedative and ended up in the missing husband's car. A man who had been in contact with Melanie repeatedly throughout the day of the house closing. A man whose prescription pad she had regular access to as a nurse, though. And then there was the whole thing about the saw. So if you remember, like, the whole saw was a tool. Mm-hmm. It came out, but not immediately, but during at least the course of the investigation, that Dr. Miller had purchased a reciprocating saw in early May of 2004. Can you believe it? I know. Specifically around May 2nd. So 3 days after Bill McGuire disappeared was when that saw was purchased, they think. Now, who names a dang saw, a reciprocating saw?
Yeah. So they kidnapped him for a little bit.
You think?
Well, if he went missing and then they bought a saw, so he must have been gone for a while. They kidnapped him, kept him somewhere, killed him.
I mean, maybe missing, no one else saw him. She says that's the last day she saw him.
Yeah, but the saw was purchased after he went missing.
Yeah. Well, the prosecution's own forensic expert testified that Bill McGuire's body had been dismembered, obviously, with a knife and a reciprocating saw. But Dr. Miller said that he bought the saw to build a fence around a play set for his kids. He still had the saw. He handed it over to the investigators voluntarily without a search warrant, and it was examined, and no charges followed. The receipt for the saw never was found. So how they came across the fact that he bought it on May 2nd, I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe
but
he just said that. Maybe
he told them that, yeah. But the detail he had purchased it only surfaced 2 full years into the investigation. So this was, I guess the investigation is still going on, but 2 years since Bill was presumed murdered.
Yeah.
So this was disclosed in 2006, not 2004. So not when police first interviewed him. This is literally 2 years later that they realized he had this saw and he gave it to them voluntarily. Because at first I'm like, okay, that's not very suspicious if he's handing it over voluntarily. It's not weird.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, 2 years later, of course he's not worried about forensics on the thing at that point, probably.
Yeah. He's cleaned it up. He's used it a couple times.
Right. So obviously they dive into Dr. Miller. They examined his alibi for the time of Bill's murder, and it held up. Stuff like this is kind of weird to me. His alibi was that he was at home with his wife and family, and evidently it was solid enough that he was there during the relevant period. And every time I hear stuff like that, I'm like, that's the easiest people to lie ever.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, if I was the wife, I'd be like, wait a second. So why do they care where you were at?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Are you involved with this girl?
Yeah, for sure. That's so suspicious.
Yeah.
Suspicious. Surely she knows at this point that they were having an affair.
They were having an affair.
That Dr. Miller and Melanie were having an affair. But then also, by the time he was probably interviewed, it's dang, was it Monday or Tuesday that we were all watching a movie at 7 p.m.? You know, it's
remember?
If you're just at the house chilling, there's nothing memorable.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she was interviewed a little bit earlier than that. But yeah, they found the saw 2 years later. I'm like, if there's nothing memorable, you probably have no idea, what was actually going on that night.
Yeah.
To me, that's not a super solid alibi. But in the prosecution's own words, they say no evidence connected him to this crime. Which is shocking that the prosecution's saying that. To me, I'm like, we should take a deeper look.
Yeah.
So, of course, the questions around him, the prescription pad, the saw, the timing, the access, all those didn't disappear because, although it's suspicious as heck, it was obvious that Dr. Bradley Miller was not just Melanie's boss. He was her lover, if you didn't put that together. If you didn't, you don't know a thing about true crime. So the whole thing looked bad. The affair had started in 2002 while Melanie was 38 weeks pregnant with her second baby. I'm like, 38 weeks pregnant, and he's like, give me that.
It's a certain glow up that women have.
Evidently, yeah, she had that baby glow. Mm-hmm. I guess. I mean, he's in the fertility industry. Yeah. He's probably fertile. Yeah. That was so creepy. Yeah. Well, according to Bill, it began with a birthday cake she brought him, and they were flirting at the clinic, as it always starts, just being very familiar with each other, and then they started exchanging emails and confiding in each other. You should never be talking to the opposite gender about your spouse, and and that you're confiding in relationship issues.
Touch your belly.
Yeah, he's like, I feel the kick. So he testified that we would be flirtatious toward each other and exchange emails. We can find each other, and I was in love with her. And ew, that's a married man with children. Mm-hmm. I hate that. You sick son of a gun.
Emails are so weird.
I know. Probably it's 2004. It's not like you're just texting easily all the time.
Yeah, I'm just joking about.
He bought 2 prepaid mobile phones, actually, though, so they could call each other without a trace. Without a trace being their spouse doesn't know about it, basically. They spoke 10 to 20 times a day. Even when they were working in the same dang building, they would call each other on the phone. Hey. I know. I see you over there. So ridiculous.
Yeah.
They discussed their future. He testified she was going to divorce Bill, and then he was going to divorce his wife, and Charlotte was his wife. So he was going to divorce Charlotte. And they were, by every account, just very in love, actually. And they wanted out of the lives they were in and start their new. Now, if that's not motive, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
That's aggressive motive. Now, all the things you just heard about Dr. Miller, plus the whole he wants to start a new life with this girl, it's looking bad. one thing that I haven't mentioned actually. So we know about the prescription was written on the pad, the sedative, the saw, the timing, the access to the clinic's records and the patient names. All that is very damning for Dr. Miller, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. One thing to add is that the blankets from the linen service that supplied the clinic with blankets, I guess they had like a regular service bringing in blankets. Yeah, a blanket from that same service was found with Bill's body in one of the suitcases. Mm. And that would have been easy access for them to have used a blanket. But on the flip side, Melanie had access to all this too. So in my opinion, as I'm going through this, I'm like, the whole mafia thing was not looked into enough. Dr. Miller seems suspicious as heck to me. But could this have been done by Melanie by herself is what is also obviously an option.
Yeah. I don't know.
She had access to it all. She was a nurse.
She could have done it, like killed him and been like freaking out, and he like called him, and then he came over and was like, all right, let's get rid of the body. Mm-hmm. Cuts it up, throws it out.
Right. Like maybe she, like in a fury, she's the one that like shot him, mm-hmm. but wasn't the only one to dispose. Yes. Yeah, basically they're just trying to turn their attention to Melanie herself and see what was going on. So they started to follow the evidence. And Pennsylvania gun purchase records came back shortly after they started their investigation. What do you think they found?
Melanie has a gun registered to her.
2 days before Bill disappeared, April 26, 2004, Melanie McGuire had driven to a gun store in Easton, Pennsylvania and purchased a .38 caliber, I want to say it's Taurus revolver? Taurus? 38 caliber revolver. Bill had a prior felony conviction, so he could not legally buy a firearm for himself, like her husband. So her explanation of why she bought this is he asked her to buy it. They were moving to a rural area, and he wanted one for the home, so she went and did it on her husband's errand. Mm. The gun shop owner, a man named John Cascia, he actually remembered her specifically. In his words, he said she was very pretty and well-dressed.
Sounds like an old man.
How does anyone remember anyone? Like, when I hear, like, I wonder... If you're a gas station worker, let me know. Are you guys trained and like told to like remember every single person ever?
I feel like they're not.
I feel like they are because you guys are
Maybe
always
QT.
Used. Yeah, QT. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like they're
Circle
always
K.
used in every investigative lead ever. And people are like, oh, I remember him 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday. He was wearing blue. I'm like, how does anyone remember this stuff?
Well, I feel like a lot of times the person comes in like all disheveled and like sweaty and like
like
and you're
if
like,
they don't look
that
like they're normal.
That guy looks like he just did something really bad.
Yeah.
Log him in our log. Suspicious people.
I know. I'm like, do they have that? Like, you have a little notebook that you guys all share? It's like at 5:23 p.m. This man came in, you know. Well, regardless, this John guy was doing the same thing, and he remembered her, and he confirmed she filled out the forms using her real name, but used her aunt's Pennsylvania address and a fake work address. So, kind of a weird thing. So she's like trying to kind of like cover her tracks, but doing a really bad job at it. Mm. There was a second item on the receipt. It was a purchase for $9.95. The store carried only 2 items at that price. It was a cleaning kit and a box of .38 caliber ammunition. So I'm leaning towards the caliber ammunition. Yeah. That's probably what it is.
But also, cleaning kit would be good too.
Would work too, yeah. But Bill McGuire was killed with a .38 caliber handgun.
Shoot.
Right. The lands and grooves on the bullets recovered from his body were consistent with the Taurus type of build as well. The bullets were wad cutter cartridges, which is the brand or the type of ammunition that was bought. Yeah. Supposedly, if that's what she bought.
She's screwed.
Yeah. Melanie had not told her friend Jim Finn, who had helped her research how to legally buy a gun in Pennsylvania, that she actually went and bought one. Not until nearly a year later when police was actually interviewing her inner circle. And it took like a year for them to interview her inner circle, which is kind of surprising. And by then, the story had changed. So originally, she was telling her friends that she was nervous about Bill's behavior. Like, she was getting a handgun out of like self-protection. Whereas now it was documented that evidently her husband had asked her to buy it. So the defense argued that this was the truth, that her husband asked her to buy it, whereas the prosecution argued that this was a revision, an excuse like retrofitted in order to use it as a piece of evidence that she hadn't expected them to find. Mm-hmm. So To me, it kind of seems more like the latter, where she's trying to cover her tracks after the fact.
Yeah.
Then we have the internet searches. People are so funny. 2004, I can't blame them because you guys probably didn't know what was going on in 2004 with technology. But you should not be searching on the home computer how to commit murder, undetectable poisons, chloral hydrate, the whole exact sedative or whatever sedative, or how to purchase a gun illegally. Okay, the dumbest searches you could look up. So Seymour, she's like the forensic computer expert, you can say. She also recovered deleted emails between Melanie and Dr. Miller that were very intimate, lovey-dovey. Nothing that was like, I'm going to kill my husband, but definitely obvious signs that there was a very passionate affair going on. Mm-hmm. That would suck so bad, having to be like the computer forensics. Like, I have to read through every single email. This is disgusting.
Yeah. And embarrassing.
Yeah.
You're like, I said that?
It's so true. Like, please just don't tell me anything that you see. The defense countered that this was a shared computer. Like, Bill had used this too. Certain of the incriminating searches appeared immediately before or after browser activity that only Bill could have initiated. Sites that required his personal passwords. Like, surely he had to have looked some things up too, because, like, she probably doesn't have all his passwords. The defense argued you could not prove who typed that, which is true. They also point out that Melanie had voluntarily handed the computer over to investigators, like through her divorce attorney, and that she never tried to destroy it. She never tried to wipe it. Like, she was very confident and comfortable with them reviewing everything she had. So they're like, there's 2 adults living in the apartment. How do we know it's only one of them that's looking up all this stuff? And then there was the garbage bags, the blanket, the tape. This is all that we're obviously going through all the physical evidence. Investigators found black garbage bags in the McGuire apartment, and a forensic expert testified that they matched the bag used to wrap Bill's remains, manufactured on the same production run within the same narrow window of time at the same facility. Now, how do they know this is crazy to me. I'm like, what do you mean that you can see it stuff from the same, like, time, that, like, the same production run? That is so weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. But the fact that you're like a black garbage bag forensic guy is kind of cool.
You like know bags so well.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that bag was made in 1972.
I can tell just by looking at it.
September brand.
Yeah, exactly.
September edition.
He's like, I'm actually used regularly in crime cases.
Like, honestly, it's the number one thing people use to dispose of bodies. So I'm
very handy in police investigations.
Yeah, you got like the ballistic assessment people, and then you got me.
And he's like, I'm the best at my job. He's like so prideful about it.
One and only.
Yeah. He's like, but you don't know a black bag guy. Well, the defense countered that those bags were, like, when they were distributed, it was literally across an entire geographic region to multiple retailers, potentially hundreds of boxes. And that matching the manufacturing run did not prove that it came from the same household. So there could be hundreds of boxes. Like, okay, if they had a neighbor down the street that had a problem with Bill, they could have bought grocery bags the same week and therefore had the same bags.
Yeah.
Which is true. Does it seem likely? Probably not. And then, like we said, the blanket that came from what we think came from the clinic. But this company supplied dozens of medical facilities across 3 states with blankets. So they're like, how can you positively identify it came from his specific clinic?
Yeah, it's just like too coincidental.
Right.
I don't know why I'm not comfy right now.
I'm not very either.
My knees are hurting me.
Maybe because you just ran? I don't know.
I just ran, everyone.
This is the first time you get to say that, so. As well, like, another coincidental thing was the tape used to seal the garbage bags around the remains was tested using mitochondria DNA analysis. Tiny pieces of hair cut on both ends consisted with razor stubble were recovered from that tape. One sample was consistent with Bill, so the deceased husband, and one was consistent with Melanie. So obviously consistent doesn't mean 100%, and defense is like, it's not 100%, but like consistent with Bill and Melanie's DNA on the tape that he was found in and could have been at her house.
Yeah.
So
that's the hard part. I mean, and the good part too. It's like it has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
But it's also like, just look at it. It's kind of,
yeah,
pretty obvious. But.
Right. But there was other things on and around those suitcases that the prosecution did not pursue. And this is what I mean by they really need to go into every single avenue and every single evidence in order to have that strong of a case. Because it kind of felt like they were picking what matches towards Melanie and only what matched towards Melanie.
I feel like that's common.
Very common. And one thing that was found was unidentified animal hair. It was found on multiple surfaces in multiple samples. Investigators know that Melanie obviously me, had no pets. She didn't have any animals. There was no reason that there should be any animal hair in any of these samples. They did not test the hair for species.
Like just sitting outside.
Well, it's not. I mean,
or is it inside the suitcase?
This was all inside. This was like everywhere. It was on and around the suitcase and the samples that they tested. So I mean, we know that like all the suitcases were thrown into water, so you wouldn't really think if it was on the outside it would match.
Yeah.
But we don't even know if it's the same animal between each other. We don't know if it's the same type of animal or whatever, because they did not
like
test the
kind?
hair. Yeah, they didn't test for the hair for species.
Yeah.
They did not cross-match the samples, so they don't know if it's the same animal to each other. The animal hair was set aside, and an unidentified palm print was also found on one of the garbage bags containing the body parts. It was not Bill's. It was not Melanie's. It was never matched to anybody. It was never.
Someone found it before, and then freaked out. And
They just like touch it and put it back. Like whatever.
Yeah, like if you saw a suitcase, you grab them like, oh, this thing's heavy.
Yeah. Well, the odd thing was it was on the garbage bag, and the garbage bag was inside the suitcase. Right. My thought was like maybe like when the fishermen like opened it up, like it was like that kind of situation where everyone went. I was like, so then you should be going and getting palm prints from everybody that found the suitcases.
Amen.
That's what I'm saying. It was never publicly explained. So prosecutors seemed to like pick what they wanted. And does it all point to Melanie, in my opinion? Yes, it's looking like Melanie's very guilty in most of this case. But it is weird, the unexplained palm print.
Yeah.
Could other people have gotten in contact with it? Sure. But.
Yeah, I kind of sold, but it just gives doubt, which you're not supposed to have doubt.
Right. And then the other half of me is like, oh, whatever. Yeah, that's the whole point. Is like, is there a reasonable doubt? One thing that was also found, which is so sad and disturbing. So crime scene investigators searched the McGuire apartment multiple times. They pulled up floors. They tested pipes. They used luminol. They brought in forensic teams, went back again and again, as recently as the summer of 2006, more than 2 full years after the murder.
What about the cars?
Well, they will, in a sec.
Right.
They were still returning to that apartment because they could not accept what they weren't finding. They were not finding anything, not a drop of blood, not one cell, not one particle. A man had allegedly been shot and dismembered in that apartment, and forensically, it was spotless.
That's why it's at Dr. Schmegel's.
Dr. Schmegel. It's not a real doctor.
I don't know.
From a cartoon. It sounds familiar.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what I was also thinking. I'm like, okay, why are we so set that it had to have happened in the apartment?
Yeah.
Like
it could be anywhere. Like it could be in Atlantic City.
Well, my thought was, well, why don't we look in the clinic, because the blanket was in the clinic.
Amen.
What if he was like, oh, I think my wife's cheating on me, I'm going to go over to the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But, I mean, that's pretty crazy if it did happen in the apartment and they were able to just, I say they because I'm suspicious about Bill, but, or about the doctor. But Melanie evidently might have been a spotless worker. Mm-hmm. Inside Bill's Nissan Maxima, though, like that was recovered, forensic experts found something kind of sad. Microscopic particles of flesh and bone. The biological residue left behind when a reciprocating solid passes through human body. DNA confirmed that it was Bill's DNA. The Star Ledger journalist who covered the case called them human sawdust.
Ew.
Yeah, which is like a great description. Like that really
like
puts it in
bone
perspective.
Or something?
Yeah, just bone. Yeah, exactly. And exactly what it sounds like, just microparticles of this. The prosecution's theory is that Melanie had tracked them from the apartment to the car on the bottom of her shoes. So when she got in to move the car, it had transferred. The defense pointed out that the Nissan Pathfinder, like Melanie's own vehicle, which she had driven all the way over there, was searched thoroughly, and they found no such residue. So, like, how would she have transferred it from the house to her car to Bill's and not in her own car?
Took off her shoes.
She thinks of it just then and then puts her shoes back on when she goes to his car. Maybe. I do think that part's kind of weird. The prosecution's position simultaneously was that she was meticulous. Like, she left no blood, no tissue, any of these things, and that she just forgot to check her shoes, which doesn't explain why the Nissan Pathfinder was clean, but this is what they are building it off of, what happened. So when investigators identified the affair, of course they approached Dr. Miller directly. He insisted that he had nothing to do with the murder. To prove it, he agreed to cooperate, and he actually wore a wire when he met with Melanie. And he had called her multiple times on a line that she believed was secure, like she trusted him. And they had the state listen on. So evidently he had multiple phone calls with her. They met in person and all these things while being wired up. And Dr. Miller later testified that when the police first approached him, he still believed in her innocence. He said that he was still very much in love with her and that he still believes that she had nothing to do with this. And that although he had a lot of qualms about making the recordings, he convinced himself that if she was innocent, the tapes would prove it. In those recordings, speaking to the man she so-called loved and should be the safest with, and she would probably confide in him, she repeatedly said over and over, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I had nothing to do with this.
Hello? I've told them everything that I know. But they're, they just don't.
They want you to break.
I mean, if you want us to stick together, I gotta know everything now. Before this goes any further.
What do you mean you have to know everything now?
I mean, there's no other secrets between us, right?
That I can think of.
You swear you had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And your children's lives. Because I'm standing by you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So do you believe
she
her?
would have kind of because she would have been like, I was doing. You were there.
I'll get all fired up.
Yeah, because like he would have been there if a lot of stuff.
You were there. What do you mean?
Of course it was.
You help me. Like, just rats him out. He's like, oh.
He's like wink wink.
He's like, stop, please.
Same office. They're like
I know. True.
all right.
Same
Did
office.
you do it? No, I didn't do it.
Across the room. They're both still working for some reason. Yeah, the prosecution called her denials rehearsed. The defense called them the words of an innocent woman who had no idea she was getting recorded. I'm like, does she actually know that she's not getting recorded? Because I feel like if you're in that type of relationship, he's probably like, okay, I have to cooperate with them. Like, and he never talk about this again. You didn't do it. Always say you didn't do it, no matter what, know? So Dr. Miller was never charged. He did not receive immunity, but he still did cooperate voluntarily. Investigators said that they found no evidence connecting him to the crime, and he eventually testified against Melanie at trial, though.
Dang.
Yeah.
Just saving himself.
Yeah, but no evidence seems like a stretch to me, considering when the saw was bought, the prescription situation.
Yeah, true that.
I'm like, is he as innocent as we all think? Mm-hmm. I'm not on board. So
but she never said, you did it too.
Yeah, true. Well, she didn't rat him out. On June 2nd, well, I guess we'll go into it in a minute. On June 2nd, 2005, more than a year after Bill's body was found, New Jersey State Police arrested Melanie McGuire while she was dropping her children off at school.
Come on.
This is actually funny to me. The kids were already in school, at least. Okay. Officers emerged from the bushes as she walked back to her car.
They have bushes on.
I know. They're wearing they're wearing ghillie suits or whatever those things are called. Like, I know, like the most innocent place.
This is a new bush they just installed.
No, it's him. Yeah, exactly. I was like,
under arrest.
I was like, was that reported right? Were they really hiding in the bushes? But that was I literally laughed out loud when I saw that. Yeah. But she was taken into custody without incident. She pleaded not guilty and was released on bail initially set at $750,000, which is crazy. But then it was later raised to $2.1 million after further charges were filed. Well, while out on bail, something weird happened, and I don't know if this is relevant or not. It is so odd to me. But a series of anonymous letters began arriving that were sent to the Attorney's General Office, the local newspaper, Dr. Miller's workplace. They were written in the voice of it sounded like it was trying to be the mafia. Like it was a tough guy claiming that he had been present when Bill was killed. The writer insisted Melanie was innocent and expressed concern about her children's losing their mom. I'm like, that is not mafia behavior.
Yeah, mafia wouldn't care. Perfect.
I know, great.
Thanks for taking the.
Yeah, thanks for taking the heat. Yeah. We're off. They're not it was me. it seems weird. Each letter was really long and detailed. Prosecutors called them a desperate attempt to mislead the investigation. And the defense was like, what if it's someone else entirely? And they want to take credit. Whatever. Then came a FedEx package that was delivered to the prosecutor's office on the very day the grand jury was set to vote on charges. And inside was a collection of just weird things. It was a letter, a handwritten list titled Set Her Up, allegedly written in the handwriting of Bill's sister's handwriting, her name's Sydney, who was now in custody of the children. Which I'm like, why would she write anything like that? Oddly enough, the other things that were in there was a ring with Bill's blood on it, an empty box of the Ultramax bullets, keys to Bill's car and Melanie's storage unit, and a mix of prescription pills.
Weird.
That is so weird. And obviously it just raised so many questions, like, how does this have to do with anything? And then the return address was incorrect. The postage had been paid using like an express card that was bought from a pharmacy, and surveillance footage from the pharmacy showed a figure buying the card, and prosecutors like, can't you see it's Melanie? And everyone's like, that's the worst footage I've ever seen. That could be literally a man. Like, so I don't know. DNA was recovered from under the stamp on several of the anonymous letters, and it did not match Melanie or anyone that they have in this investigation. Weird. So is there another set of people?
I don't know. It could be.
I don't know. At trial, the jury ultimately rejected the idea that Melanie was the one behind the letters and the package. And so she was like acquitted for any charges related to like trying to hinder the investigation. So this was just like a random blurb in the investigation. Like, does this matter? We have no idea. Well, on March 5th, 2007, in the Middlesex County Courthouse, New Brunswick, New Jersey, nearly 3 years after Bill's body was found, the trial begins. 76 witnesses, 1,200 exhibits, 6 weeks of testimony. Melanie does not testify. Instead, the jury hears her voice from the secretly recorded phone calls. There was hours of these phone calls, and she never incriminated herself. Dang. In which she repeatedly, consistently said, I did not do it. So the fact that she never slipped up is pretty shocking.
Yeah.
So the prosecution's theory. Ready for this?
Ready.
This is what they think happened. Do I agree? I can't decide. Sometime that night, Melanie dissolves chloral hydrate in Bill's drink. Its color is nearly tasteless. He doesn't notice. Within minutes, the 6'3", 210-pound man is unconscious on the floor of their Woodbridge apartment. Their 2 young sons sleep down the hall. She retrieves a .38 caliber revolver she purchased just 2 days earlier. Prosecutors believe she used a pillow to muffle the shots because fibers were later found in the castings where it was like it could have been consistent with like cushion filling. She fires once in his head, twice in his chest, and evidently no one hears a thing in this little apartment complex. She then takes him apart. Horrible. In the bathroom, is what they think, with a knife and a reciprocating saw, she cuts the body apart while her children sleep nearby. She wraps each section in black garbage bags, seals them off with tape, carrying both their DNA, both Bill and Melanie's, and places the remains into dark green Kenneth Cole luggage set that they had already owned. She loads the suitcases into her car, drives nearly 300 miles south to Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, one by one, throws them into the wall, then she turns around, drives back 300 miles. When investigators later search the apartment 5 times over 2.5 years, they find no blood, no tissue, no trace of a crime. The only physical evidence linking her to the remains was the microscopic bone fragments, potentially, and that were allegedly tracked from Bill's car. Okay, that is what they think happened. Do I think Melanie's guilty? I think there's a high chance. Do I think it happened like that? I don't know. Because in her own house, by herself, moving this like big man, it seems a little unlikely to me. What do you think?
I think she had help.
I think so too. I feel like
I think it happened not in the house.
I think she's like 5'3", I think. I thought I wrote it somewhere, but I haven't seen it yet. So she's a smaller woman moving a 6 foot, even if it is in 3 separate pieces. That sounds so sad. That's still heavy. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And there's no remains found, which is crazy.
No forensics. Yeah. Like, it's so hard. Like, you see, like, luminol light up a place that had blood one time 8 years ago. Yeah. Like, that is, like, so hard to cover up.
Yeah. So
then we have defense attorney Joseph Tacopina. I have no idea how to say his last name. So Joseph steps in. He tells the jury that this case is as much about what is not there as what is. 3 years of investigation, every forensic resource available, and they cannot tell you where Bill McGuire was killed, how he was killed, who dismembered him, and what Melanie's specific role was. Only that she participated. That word participated, he says, is not an accident. It means that they don't know who pulled the trigger. And I'm like, they got a point. He puts, like Joseph, the defense attorney, puts the gambling on the table. He tells the jury Bill McGuire was not just a casual player. He was spending so much money, getting money from people no one can track. He was going to Atlantic City with people his family did not know. He tells them investigators called Atlantic City law enforcement to ask if Bill's murder was connected to any unsolved cases for the first time just 2 weeks before the trial start. Like, the investigators didn't even look into if there's any other similar cases until 2 weeks before the trial began. And he's like, you should consider that. Like, they're not looking into alternative motive. They hyper-focused on Melanie. Yeah. He hammers the apartment. Yeah, this is where I said a 5'3" woman and a 6'3" 210-pound man, a reciprocating saw, small apartment. You have thin walls. You have kids there. And they're doing all this right there without a drop of blood. It's physically impossible, they say. Mm-hmm. And he asked the jury the simplest question. If Melanie wanted Bradley Miller, why not just get a divorce? There was no significant life insurance policy, which is usually very heavily influenced. Yep. No financial windfall. She would have the children regardless. And divorce was painful and expensive, but it was not murder.
Maybe self-defense.
Maybe self-defense? I feel like she would have pulled that claim by now. Mm-hmm. So we have bone particles on a car mat, internet searches on a shared family computer, a gun that was never recovered, a gun never confirmed by any independent ballistics laboratory as the murder weapon. So we don't even know if that is the same gun. Mm-hmm. A sedative not detected at autopsy because the lab didn't do a routine screening for it. Garbage bags from a common brand distributed across an entire county, a blanket from a supplier who served dozens of facilities, DNA on a tape, and an unidentified palm print on one of the body bags, and unidentified animal hair across the suitcases that were noted and set aside and never explained. That is everything we have. And is there enough for reasonable doubt?
I think so.
You think so?
Potentially. I'd be conflicted.
That'd be tough. I imagine, like, when we go to do our, like, fun little court case thing. Yippee. Yeah, I always think, like, if I was given this case, I don't know where I'd stand.
Yeah, same.
Because you don't want to put someone away forever when there's so many things that aren't really explained. Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree. After 13 hours of deliberation, on April 23rd, 2007, the jury returns. Dun, dun, dun. What do you think?
I think guilty.
Yeah?
I think they're going to go guilty, even though... Actually, yeah, because you said that it was solved.
Yeah, it is solved.
Okay.
That means that there's a verdict.
No, solved is the person's... Like, it'd be unsolved if there's nothing.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay.
All right, keep going.
So, jury returns. Guilty.
I knew it.
I know, I just had to backtrack. First degree murder. Desecration of human remains, perjury, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and not guilty for the anonymous letter charges. On July 19, 2007, Melanie McGuire is sentenced to life in prison plus 5 years. She must serve a minimum of 66 years before she can be even considered for parole. Dang. She'll be 101 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's spending life there. So, what happened after? Every appeal Melanie filed was denied. The New Jersey Supreme Court declined to hear the case in September 2011. A motion for post-conviction relief in 2014 alleging ineffective counsel and newly discovered evidence was also rejected. A jailhouse informant once surfaced for a little bit, saying that Bill was killed by the mob and all this stuff. But once I looked into it, like, this guy is like a serial liar.
Confessor.
Confessor. He's one of those guys, like, he's trying to have, like, know everything about every case to have a lesser sentence. So he recanted, and he actually accused Melanie's own attorney for manipulating him, which is interesting. But that door closed, so nothing happened there. Melanie's two sons, that were 4 and 2 when their dad died, were given to Bill's sister Cindy to raise. After the conviction, Melanie has not seen them, which is crazy. That's been a long time. Dr. Bradley Miller, Melanie's boss, her lover, all that stuff, He was never charged with anything. And that is what shocks me, I think, the most of the case. I don't know why. I'm like,
Yeah.
she could, in my opinion, she couldn't have done it by herself. Do I think she's guilty? Yes. Do I think she was the one that did everything? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel that.
But he did cooperate fully. He testified against her and he just moved on. He now practices a reproductive endocrinology in Troy, Michigan. Yeah. Ew. In a 2019 interview with ABC's News 2020, speaking from her cell at the Correctional Facility for Women in Clinton, New Jersey, Melanie McGuire said, "After all these years, I still feel hurt. I still feel bothered. Like, how could somebody think that I did that? The killer is out there and it's not me."
Dang.
Yeah, her message to her sons is, you got to make up your mind. Don't accept what you're being told on the surface. You got to dig. She'll be eligible for parole in 2073. So,
Just around the corner.
do you think she did it?
Probably. I don't know.
That's the hard thing. You can't have reasonable doubt, though.
Yeah. That's an issue.
So, I think they were a team, but I don't want to drag Doctor down because he was never charged. So, all that is allegedly. But that is kind of a wonky case of a lot of evidence and also not a lot of evidence.
Yeah. Seriously.
And that is the case of Bill and Melanie McGuire.
Wow.
Not kind of a doozy.
Yeah.
I knew it was
it's
going to be a long
doozy.
one. So I'll put all the documentaries in the show notes and all the sources we use, of course. But before we move on to anything else, brother, give me a key word, actually.
Key word is body bag.
Body bag. Okay. That's sad, but body bag it is. I thought I had one other note I wanted
And
to
the
add
second
in here.
keyword is what animal was in the suitcase.
What do you think happened there? I feel like it was a cat. I feel like cat fur goes everywhere. That would be
Yeah.
my guess.
Are you trying to give me something?
Yeah, here you go.
Give me that.
Give me that. All right, well, as always, hit us with that true crime news.
All right. So, welcome back to another episode of True Crime News. My name's Blake,
I'm Allie.
and we're back. I don't remember anything else.
And this
Thanks
is...
for tuning in to the Sick Express, the news that keeps you on track.
Yes.
Something like that. All right, so first in Texas, the Austin area. In Texas, 28-year-old Savannah Soto and her boyfriend Matthew Guerra were found dead inside a vehicle just days before Christmas.
Sad.
Police arrest Christopher Preciado, who is accused of killing the couple during what investigators believe was a drug-related dispute. Authorities say the case quickly shifted from missing person to homicide as evidence began to surface.
Dang.
Yeah, California.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, Gilgo Beach case expansion. In the ongoing Gilgo Beach investigation, suspected serial killer Rex now faces additional charges connected to multiple victims, including Maureen Bernard Barnes. Prosecutors alleged Rex targeted vulnerable women over several years, with DNA evidence playing a key role in linking him to his crimes.
I love when cold cases are found, but like all of a sudden they like link, like they get the missing piece and it's like 6 things pop up. I'm like solving so many in one DNA.
Yeah. Florida staged home invasion. In Florida, Yamileth Mercado was found shot inside her home in what initially appeared to be a break-in. Police later found her husband, Luis Mercado, after surveillance footage and inconsistencies in his story led investigators to believe the home invasion had been staged to cover up her murder. Illinois, missing woman found. In Illinois, 37-year-old Megan Nichols, who had been reported missing, was tragically found dead in a wooded area. Authorities have since charged James M. Hawkins, an acquaintance with her murder. Investigators say digital evidence and phone data helped place him at the scene. And last, New York City submarine attack.
What?
Sorry.
What are you saying?
Subway attack.
A submarine. I was like, what the heck? I went to like Navy thoughts and stuff.
In New York City, Michelle Go was pushed to her death in front of an oncoming subway train.
Horrible.
Police arrest Simon Marshall, who had a history of mental illness and prior arrests. The case sparked renewed debate about public safety and mental health resources in the city.
Seen quite a few people trying to get pushed in front of trains and stuff. That's so weird. I hate
I
that.
can't believe I said submarine.
Yeah, that was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Well, that is all we have for this week.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in
To the SIC Express.
the news that keeps you on track.
We'll be back next week with another episode of Siblings and Crime.
Adios.